Man, we had these team competitions where we'd have like different weight classes of our team versus different weight classes of this other team. And we fought in this tournament, and there was these guys, really high-level guys from Korea. And they were and Korean guys were always scary because everybody was that's the motherland of Taekwondo. Of course, and, you know, you see Korean national champions, they were so technical and so good and so fast. And I remember John was he was fighting in this tournament against this Korean guy, and he kept getting hit. He kept getting hit by this guy. The guy kept scoring on him, and everybody was cheering and cheering. And you could see John just staying calm, just waiting. And then there was this moment where he faked. The guy made a movement. The guy tried to charge in, and John turned and hit him with that same kick and sent that dude crumbling and screaming in agony. Just, ah! And he just turned around and looked at me and raised his eyebrows, and he was laughing about it afterwards. He goes, "I knew it was just time. I was just looking for the moment. And he found it. And it was just seeing him hit that bag, and then being on the same team as him years later, competing as a black belt, and watching him do this to this national champion and sending this guy just crumbling to the ground. Just that kind of ability obsessed me. That's all I wanted to do was like figure out how to kick someone like that. That's all I wanted to do.
Probably the single most impressive thing in martial arts is the ability to finish a fight. And having that ability changes the very way in which you fight, as you described with your mentor. And you see the same thing in jiu-jitsu. Like if you know that if you get a hold of this guy's arm, leg, or neck, it's literally just done. You've got the mechanics to just put him away. You can endure anything. You can be pinned, held down, passed, everything, and you'll just bide your time and get to that and then get to that finishing position. It gives you a kind of relaxation in the storm of competition, where you just say, okay, I can be behind, I can be down on points, but if I get a hold of you, it's done. And it's a true, I don't want to use the word superpower, but in the realm of martial arts, it is a kind of a superpower. The ability just to finish at any given time. It's a different thing when you fight someone who you know can knock you out with a single punch. Like this, Francis Ngannou is a tough opponent to deal with because you make even a single error and it's just good night.
He's the ultimate example of that.
Yeah.
Because he's such a freak athlete. Just like, how rare is it to see a man who's a natural 275 pounds, just enormous person with just ridiculous power. Power it's the great equalizer. And we were talking about Canelo Alvarez before this too. When we were talking about the fight with Billy Joe Saunders, when I was showing the picture of all the fractures that Billy Joe got on his face. He's, to me, the perfect example of what's possible as a fighter, because although he has this one-shot power, he also has spectacular technique. He does everything right. His defense is on point. His timing, his footwork, he does everything so well, but also has that thunderous power where he puts it all together in such an intelligent and well-measured way. I mean, I fucking love watching that guy fight.
Yeah.
Because he embodies, like, Floyd has the spectacular talent and amazing technique, but he doesn't have that power. It's a different thing with a guy like Canelo, because it's rare that someone has that kind of power, but yet also develops that kind of amazing defensive ability that he has.
The integration of extreme finishing power with defensive soundness is the highest ideal in all of martial arts. And you see it, when you see it, it's a truly special thing. Like, you see the mature Canelo Alvarez, you see it in him.
Yeah.
You saw it in the 1980s with Mike Tyson, a guy who could barely be hit at his peak. It was hard to land a blow on Mike Tyson, but every blow he threw at you looked like it would take your head off. Those are two extreme examples. My job as a coach in jiu-jitsu is to try and push my athletes towards that. My athletes are known for their ability to escape. They can get into terrible situations and dig their way out. They prove that time and time again in early EBI competitions. But at the same time, they have devastating finishes. And that martial arts ideal of the extreme integration of the ability to finish mixed with defensive soundness is the direction you want to push all martial arts, whether they be grappling or striking.
It's one of the reasons why it's so fascinating to watch the approach of your athletes in comparison to some of these other athletes that have been competing for far longer, because they're intimidated by the approach of these guys that are completely submission-based. And you see it. You see it in the reason why Gordon has such a hard time finding fights. You see it when these guys wind up talking about matching up. They want all these special rules. They want to do different things. They want to figure out a way. They're kind of pushing away before they even engage. They're talking a lot of shit and they're puffing their chest up, but they're like, how about we do it in the gi? How about we do it this? How about we ADCDC rules? How about we do this? And there's all these different caveats that they want to apply. And I think there's part of them that recognizes that they fucked up and they've been spending all this time trying to win on points, trying to stall, trying to do all these different things to be champions, but not embracing what is really, truly spectacular about not just jiu-jitsu, but all martial arts, what we're talking about.
Yeah, I agree that ability to manifest the ideal, and that ideal based around the combination of defensive soundness and extreme ability to finish. It's like the universal appeal of martial arts. It's what took you, and as a 15-year-old boy, that's what made you turn your entire life in that direction. That's what I saw as potential as a 28-year-old man when I began jiu-jitsu. And I think the more we stay true to that principle, the better the future of jiu-jitsu looks.
100%. It is what martial arts are supposed to be about. It's not supposed to be about winning by points. It's supposed to be about the ability to close the show, the ability to stop an opponent, the ability to strangle an opponent, the ability to end a fight.
While denying him the ability to do that to us.
Yeah. It's just so rare to see it applied the way your guys are applying it, where you really do have a whole team that has the hardest, they're taking the hardest path. They're taking the most difficult path, but also taking the path of legends.
Yeah, I think that's, and long term, I'm always trying to impress upon this is the way to build a brand. This is the way to, no one's going to remember the guy that won by advantage 4 times in 2018. They're going to remember the guy who consistently came out. And this is not just true for my athletes. You see it among other great athletes too. You mentioned before Marcelo Garcia. We talked about Roger Gracie. Everyone who embraced that idea, or Braulio Estima, these were guys who went out and ruthlessly hunted for the submission.
Yes.
And they're the ones that people remember.